Hey everyone, it's Jordan at the Music Zoo. I'm joined today by my new friend, Mr. Brandon Ellis. What's up, dude?
Yeah, happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
We're here today to talk about Jackson. You have a lot of cool things going on. You're a longtime Jackson endorsee. You have this awesome Pro Series Green Crackle. Where did your guitar playing journey with Jackson first start?
I believe it was 2018 when I started actually working with Jackson, but I had grown up with, I was always buying these like old used kind of what we might start calling vintage, like early 90s, late
on the way.
Kind of like old Charvel guitars and Jackson guitars and stuff like that. And I was always into the 80s hair metal retro kind of lead guitar kind of thing,
Totally.
More than like what was going on at that time. Like with my friends at school and stuff who also play guitar, like I was into something completely different, and it was like that's what it was.
Yeah.
The old rock and roll stuff.
That stuff appealed to you the most. Remember, what was the first Jackson you ever saw? Was it like a Randy Rhoads or something like that?
The first, it probably was a Randy Rhoads, the first one I ever saw. So I started with an old Charvel 650 XL. That was very much like a Jackson soloist kind of, and even had the Charvel logo and like the Jackson font, that was like my first like 80s guitar. Or early 90s. I'm not sure exactly the year on that, and it was in this like metallic blue, like this kind of like bubblegum blue.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
And that guitar was awesome. And after I had that guitar, it's like the second guitar I ever had, and then I went on to try out all this like boutique kind of stuff, and none of it was good as that guitar.
Cool. So,
so I kind of ended up sticking around with the Jackson and Charvel brand guitars.
Did you ever have any other like metal guitar branded phases like Ibanez or ESP or something like that? Or did you always gravitate towards classic Jackson?
I've got a large collection of guitars.
I've seen that.
I've kind of
had famous
like
video
everything.
now.
Yeah, I've had like everything, and whether I've held on to it or moved them on to try everything else. You know what I mean? I've been through a lot of guitars. I probably own over 60 guitars right now.
Wow.
And for every guitar I've owned, there's probably like 2 or 3 that I traded or sold at some point.
We all have that
just to move
habit.
on and try something else. I just like to know everything that's out there, and that's kind of helped me a lot because I've tried every kind of weird specification that exists. Sort of, I've tried a lot of them. And that kind of guides me to being able to discover like what works best for me when I'm ordering like a new custom shop or something. I can try some of different measurements that a lot of other people might not be so daring to try.
That kind of leads up to my next question, which was leading up to 2017 when you were designing your first signature guitar with Jackson. What, of all that experience you had buying and selling and trading over the years, what got put into the specs when you were putting this guitar together?
Well, it sort of started off a little easy. The first actual Jackson guitar that I received as part of the endorsement when I started working with them was actually it was a snakeskin Kelly US one painted by Dan Lawrence that they just kind of happened to have at the factory ready to go to someone. Because I had talked to my artist relations about ordering this Green Crackle Kelly, and that was going to take a while to build. So they were like, well, "We have this right away. Can we just send this to you and you can play it in the meantime?" And I was like, I saw a picture of it and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's like right up my alley. It was like kind of too good to be true that it was like, wow, you can just send me something immediately that's like totally my style. And that guitar is really cool. I've still got that guitar and I used it on stage in Black Dahlia Murder for like a couple of years, maybe a year and a half or so before my US Green Kelly arrived.
Nice.
But that was just a stock like US Kelly, and I loved the thing. And so my first custom guitar was really not different in the like specifications of how it felt and everything. It was basically just a US Kelly with a single pickup And I kind of like that just because, like, my Jackson guitars are very much geared towards what I want to do on tour and on stage.
Totally.
And it's like one less thing to have to like clean out and like to get rusty and to get all this grime like under the pickup ring and stuff like that. And I've just got this like feeling in my gut that there's some kind of tonal increase from not having a pickup there.
I think so too. Yeah, I mean, anyone that watches Music Zoo videos, they know we love one pickup guitars, and I think Tommy, the owner of the shop, feels the same way. It's like less magnetic pull, something.
There's something about it, and when you play them, you can just kind of tell. Like it's just there's some extra something that goes on. If you want the bridge pickup to sound the best it can, Like I don't want to like speculate on why that is, but it could be for a number of reasons. But for some reason, I just really like the idea, and I like that there's nothing in the way under my picking hand or anything. I can dig in deep and stuff like that. So yeah, I went with a single pickup, and obviously the Green Crackle finish, reverse headstock. And other than that, this guitar is not really too different than, like, it's based on a US Kelly, I guess. And,
right, yeah.
One thing about this guitar, though, is that I think at the time there wasn't a neck-through import Kelly.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
One. They were, as far as I know,
usually set or like bolt-ons.
Yeah, so it was nice to bring this to market and
that's really cool.
Be able to have, because I grew up, one of my friends had a Kelly, and I never liked the thing because the heel was blocky and the body wasn't beveled at all, and it was kind of like jabbing me when I was playing it, you know what I mean? So this was kind of like, it was close to the US spec. And I had the strap button moved because the US Kellys, they put the strap button offset over here.
Oh, yeah.
Where the production ones at the time were right in the center.
Right.
I felt like this balanced better.
Balances
so
more
I just
on
really
stage.
tried to get them to make this import guitar like as close to the US one that I was actually playing.
That's awesome.
As I could. And I think that differed a little bit from what the Pro Series.
That's cool. And I mean, for stuff like this, it's so important because you want it to be like an instrument for performing, like other people who want to play it on stage. You want them to have the same experience you have as a professional.
Right. Yeah, that's really important to me. And I was kind of apprehensive about making a signature guitar that wasn't like a US one because I was playing the US guitars.
Yeah.
And so they had to kind of do it in a way where I could play this guitar and be like, I don't notice a difference.
Yeah, I think they've gotten really good at that in recent times for sure. Maybe you were the first one that started it, like the Dave Davidson, like the Import Warrior. It's sick. It's crazy. They're doing like an import neck through 7-string, like Ferrari red and yellow, and it just looks great. Looks and feels like it's custom shop guitar. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're better.
It's
than
more
ever,
attainable.
For sure. Like
for sure.
Import guitars are better than ever, and I just started to realize, like, as an artist, like I have some say in how the factory actually does things. You know what I mean? There's always like there's some power that I have. Like, it's not like I have to just say yes to whatever.
It doesn't have to just have your name on it.
Right. Yeah,
you want it to represent you as an artist and as a player the right way.
Right.
I want to get into some more nerdier things. Like I noticed I watched that Metal Injection, the guitar collection video.
Right.
That got me really excited for this video because I was like, oh man, you're ahead. You're into it. Yeah. But this is the parallel axis Seymour Duncan pickup in a lot of your guitars, and it looks really cool. But what differs with that than like a JB or something else? Like, what do you like about that pickup? Because I see it's in most of your guitars.
Yeah, I love these pickups, and I discovered this pickup again just from buying some old early '90s guitar that had one in there.
Oh, cool.
And kind of tossing it into some other guitars of mine and swapping pickups around and really comparing stuff while recording, because I've been a recording guy since I was like 16. I started just writing demos and stuff like that. And so I've always looked at guitars tonally, like under the microscope in that kind of way, rather than just plugging into an amp and being like, does it feel good or whatever? I'm really like listening closely.
Yeah.
And I found that these parallel axis pickups, it's not too far off from like what a JB sounds like, but there's something more direct sounding about it where
cool.
It just sounds a little bit stringier and a little bit more pick attack and just kind of higher fidelity in some kind of way, where like a JB is very round sounding.
Yeah.
And this has a similar output and a similar feel to it, but it's just got a little bit more like clarity and definition to it and a little bit more bite.
Cool. Do you ever mess around? I know we'll get to the crazy 7-string in a minute with active pickups, but have you ever messed around? How do you feel about passive versus active in super heavy music like the stuff you play?
Well, it depends on the tuning, I guess, is really where I draw the line, because I think I prefer passive pickups greatly as a soloist.
Yeah.
I just, when I play on active pickups, sometimes I'm just like, I'm not hearing coming out of the amp what I think I'm putting into the strings. Like there
Oh, interesting. Okay.
there are like nuances that I'm trying to express in like the way that I'm picking or the dynamic or just subtleties that I'm trying to get through to people of just accenting with my fingers which notes I want to like come through and be emphasized. And with active, it kind of can just like level everything out in a way that can, it just feels like I'm losing some of the life of what I'm trying to do with soloing with active pickups.
Gotcha.
So I've always preferred passive and tried to get away with passive pickups like as much as I can.
Yeah.
And the lower you tune, the more difficult it gets, and you might have to try different pickup models to get it to have the same tone that you're looking for, to kind of distort in the same sort of way. Because that's the thing, like the lower the notes get, the more bass that you get, and the more it kind of muddies the sound.
Yeah.
So you kind of need tighter and tighter pickups the lower you go. So beyond a certain point, like below B or B flat, like I'll go to active pickups.
Yeah.
You know, at that point,
Gotcha.
a passive pickup starts to sound more like a bass guitar.
Yeah.
And to get that real saturation in the mids, I might go to an active. But for like overall the sound of the guitar that I like, it's passive all the way, because I'm first and foremost probably a soloist.
Right.
And so that's most important to me.
That's cool. I think that's an interesting, and a great way. I agree with it too. Is like it's like a working musician's approach to it. It's like, I need this guitar to be a tool for the thing I'm trying to articulate. And
Right.
so it's not what you prefer. It's what the guitar or the song needs.
Right, exactly.
Which is pretty cool.
I'm very utilitarian about that. That there's a purpose for every type of gear that's out there, and there's for every job that you're doing in music, for every gig that you have, or every like creative idea that you have, it might call for a different type of tone or a different feel of the guitar, or what have you. So there's definitely, like, some of my guitars are just designed for touring, and some of them at home aren't, and I really appreciate the specs that maybe I would be afraid to take on tour.
Yeah.
And with pickups, it's the same thing. It's like you kind of need a different pickup for whatever sound you have in your head, of course.
I agree. Yeah. Speaking of different tools for the job, let's move on to the next guitar, which is this really cool Gold Crackle Kelly.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have, I believe this is a custom shop.
This is a custom shop. Yeah. This is my third custom shop from Jackson.
What are some of the specs on this one? Because I could see different tremolo. You obviously have a sustainer pickup in there.
There's a lot going on in this one.
There's a lot, yeah.
This one has 27 frets, which is something that I kind of started doing.
Nice.
When I was playing in C standard a lot, and I wanted some of those higher notes back. So I figured I'd add a few frets, and also I was already playing solos that were like right up against the 24th.
Yeah.
And it's sort of stressful. Even like, if you got the access to get up there to the 24th, it's still kind of stressful just being like, I'm on the last fret of the guitar.
You're like,
there's some mental psych out about it.
I can understand that. Like, I don't think I ever go up there, but what if you run out or like fret on the pickup or something like that,
yeah,
right?
it's just comfortable for me to have like a little bit more.
Yeah.
And every now and then I do go up there when I'm just like improvising around. Sometimes if you're playing like a certain arpeggio and it's like, okay, the fifth, I have my root, my third, and my fifth, and if I could only just get that higher octave of that root up there, we'd really have that powerful note, and it's just not there. There were solos that I had to play from the previous guitar player where he didn't have 27 frets, but he would just like tap his fingernail on top of an arpeggio up there like that. And we're talking like really quick arpeggios.
Those are fast tunes.
You can't really tell that there's not a fret up there. Like the note happens if you do it right. You know? And I was like, I should probably get some real frets up
something up there.
This live, like,
and it just
reliably.
looks so cool. The 27th fret with the slanted sustainer pickup. And the more I look at this, I just realized the shark fins are crackles with like the oval eye on the 12th, and then they reverse.
Right. Yeah.
That's sick. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I'll try to run through all the specs on this that I requested. So
sure.
Well, the paint obviously is a gold metal flake. It's a really heavy flake.
Yeah.
Gold.
Looks awesome.
With the crackle. And I wanted it to be like thick cracks and like a wide, big design that you could see from a distance.
Yeah.
Rather than like a really, tight knit crackle.
Totally.
That like the people in the crowd might not be able to like tell exactly what's going on. So I had a specific like look to it that I wanted, and they were able to do that. We have a sustainer pickup in the neck.
Nice.
So if I flip this switch down here, that will be on. And this switch in the back is for either it'll sustain like the note that I'm playing, or it'll make the harmonic happen. And that's something that I'll do within a live show. I'll be like, oh, this solo is coming up, and let me kick that on. And then at a certain point, I'll switch this switch back here to get the harmonic or not.
Cool.
So that's a really cool thing to have in live. Again, like as a stage guitar, it's awesome. Like you're ringing out between songs. You don't have to worry about getting feedback or whatever. You just put that switch on and it sounds awesome.
Hit like an echo. Do you hit like an echo or something? Like you don't need to have like a pedal or anything. Just
So it's really killer for that.
Nice.
And it's just a good use of that space. I feel like if I'm not going to use a neck pickup, I was like, well, why shouldn't I put a sustainer there? You know, I might actually use that.
Yeah.
And I have used it a lot. So this one's a mahogany body, where my others have been alder. It's a roasted maple neck and a non-roasted flame maple fingerboard here. The frets are EVO, so they're gold colored.
Nice.
Which just makes this guitar pop a little bit more. And the inlays are recon stone. So they're like reconstituted stone that looks like a gold and black kind of marble.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, how did you get them to? How did they crackle the inlays? But if it's stone,
yeah, this was actually like Joe's idea. Like, I didn't know that this material existed.
Okay, cool.
So he suggested that.
Metal Joe,
yep,
master builder, who, if you guys aren't familiar with, is incredibly talented. We have a lot of his guitars here. Yeah, great dude.
I work very closely with the luthier who builds my guitars, which is Joe most of the time.
Nice.
So you know, he's able to like show me what fingerboards he has, and I can choose the one I have, and he's showing me different types of inlays and what might make the guitar look best. So yeah, we have those inlays, and I designed this where when I'm playing rhythm, the inlays being under my fingers over here are nice, and when I'm playing lead, having the bulk of the inlay at the top there just draws my focus.
Oh, okay,
to
cool.
The high E instead of the low E. So it's actually pretty comfortable for me to have the inlays.
Like you're using the reverse shark fins as like a visual cue.
Yeah.
Or just like, we're going here.
Right. Whereas if you're playing the solo and it's like under your fingers, it's just that tiny sliver of a shark
I never
fin
thought
up
of
there.
it like
It's
that.
a little bit less of a target.
Yeah.
And I thought that this kind of like bow tie at the 12th fret would be like a cool,
really cool, kind
of elegant look.
That's awesome. Are there lumen lays on that one?
Yeah, this has lumen lay on the side,
nice,
which are crucial to me on stage. And the headstock has a flame maple binding.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Which I'm
awesome.
told was quite difficult to do. Bend the wood like that. Around it.
I do appreciate when the master builders and the folks at Jackson Custom are like, it's gonna suck, but I'll do it.
Yeah, and another thing,
we appreciate it.
I have what Joe likes to call bullet scallops from the 17th fret up.
Whoa.
Where it's scalloped at an angle, so the low strings aren't scalloped, but the solo strings are. And to me, it's a functional thing because like when I'm playing live and my hands are like super sweaty and it's hard to get a good grip, you know, it's like there's some space under the string between the frets for my finger pad to kind of exist in. So I'm not feeling as much of the wood. I feel like the closer the frets get together, the more the skin of your fingertips just gets crammed in there and starts like rubbing against the wood. So it kind of gives me some extra grip up there. And it's just a neat kind of cosmetic thing to have it. You know,
I could see it from where I'm sitting now.
I
didn't realize, I could see the scalping from where I am, but I didn't realize that the bass strings aren't scalped, which I didn't even know you could do.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, so
and what is the tremolo? It looks like it's a Goto?
So this is a Hantu tremolo, and it's a Turkish machinery, and it's a sub-brand of like a large Turkish machinery that does medical implants and like aerospace parts and stuff like that. So they have like a lot of capabilities to do very precise work, and they work mostly with titanium.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this tremolo here, this is actually their. I requested that. So I was playing their titanium tremolos on tour because they don't rust.
Yeah.
And I would do a whole tour, and it would just kind of be a nightmare to like rehab a tremolo after a full tour of sweating all over it. So I started playing the titanium stuff, and I started working closely with this company, Hantu, that made my tremolo.
Yeah.
And this is kind of their new low pro tremolo. This one has an aluminum base plate actually.
Cool.
But the knife edges are stainless steel and the saddles are titanium, and it's kind of like I wanted a really light tremolo, like lightweight tremolo, because I think that like for what the sound that I'm going for, I don't like the heavy metal actually. I like the most direct thing, like just instant transfer of sound and not having like sympathetic vibrations of the
Gotcha,
like
I
find that the low end is cleaner and faster and just like tighter.
Yeah.
So I was playing the titanium ones, and I was like, what if we went aluminum, which is I think a little bit lighter.
I think so. I think you're right.
And I was experimenting with spring claws of different materials, and I was like, I like the aluminum one.
That's
so
cool.
I was like, can we make an aluminum tremolo? And he was like, well, but it's gonna be more complicated than just making the whole thing out of aluminum. So it's kind of this new design. So that's the tremolo.
That's awesome. I love your dedication to this. Trying new shit, being like, what if?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And it's like a custom shop thing too. So this tremolo is like made for this guitar, which is gold and black, and
that rules.
Killer on here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Have you used that on recordings?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I prefer it. I like, it's again a thing that I approach from a studio perspective.
Yeah. I was just
trying all these different tremolos and blocks and saddles and things, and listening to how the tone changes. And some people will tell you that like it doesn't matter, but it does.
I think
if you really care that much, it does. Like if you're listening that closely, there is a difference with everything that you touch on a guitar.
I was listening to some Dahlia solos this morning, just tunes, and I was like, the tremolo work. I don't know if this was on some of those songs on like Nightbringers, but was it?
I think Nightbringers was before I got my first titanium tremolo.
Okay, cool. Either way,
but yeah, I used the tremolo.
I was gonna compliment you on your tremolo work because I love how like you'll like either enter or exit a solo with a big dive bomb. That's always really fun.
And I use it like lyrically as well.
Totally, I agree.
Just to kind of get more of a vocal type phrasing out of the notes that I'm trying to play. So they don't just all have that pick attack or that hammer on.
I really
like more of a voice.
Yeah, I really appreciate your the way it's not just like a flurry of notes. It'd be like, here's 4, and there was like a melody, and you're like, oh, okay, here's a guitar solo, and then from there, like the composition just gets sicker and sicker. But there's always like a nice intro of melody.
One thing about this guitar specifications wise that's really different is the scale length on this. I did a 25.1 inch scale.
Oh, interesting.
Which is the same scale as my Fender HM Strats.
Yes.
And I have a couple of those guitars and I'm really comfortable playing them, and I was like, it would be rad if I could have a Kelly that felt like this. And I'd even used those guitars on some Dahlia tours at that time. So I was like, I know that this works for the C tuning.
Right.
It's not too short for that. So I did that, and I did an R2 nut for a closer string spacing.
Is it a little narrower?
A little narrower. So everything on this guitar is a little bit closer together.
Cool.
So I kind of designed this guitar specifically for soloing. So the strings are easier to bend, and I can do wider stretches, and I can go from string to string a little bit quicker.
That's cool. How do you think that the 25.1 affects like galloping and stuff like that? Is it a little more like, I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, there's a little bit more play in it.
That's what I'm looking for.
But it's just, it just is an adjustment of string gauge to find what works for you.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I feel this is a good compromise where I can still do everything that I need to do, and everything's a little bit easier for me. It's not like floppy, but it's really easy to control bending and things like that.
Cool.
And then one more other thing is that I do top mount Floyds.
Gotcha.
Nowadays, so
as opposed to the whole back of the body recessing.
The recession, yeah. And I just like having the strings higher off the body.
Gotcha.
So that's another spec. So there's a lot of things about this that are very custom to what I.
It's amazing. That's one of the coolest Jacksons I've ever seen. It's
thanks, man.
So sick.
Me too. Like I don't really know where to go from.
Where do you go from there?
This is my crown jewel right here.
That rules.
Yeah.
Now, this crazy thing which the internet has all seen and I think we're all in love with and I'm kind of scared of, man. Tell me about this thing.
Okay, so I had this guitar made very recently, very quickly, for a tour that I had coming up. So I was secured to play guitar for Cannibal Corpse.
Amazing, so sick.
And when I realized what they tuned to, I was like, oh man, I might not have the tools to be able to do this the way I want to do it, because obviously I like things to be very optimized for what I'm doing. I'm like a super nerd about it. So it was important to me to get a guitar for that. And even just aesthetically, I was like, I don't know if I have a guitar that looks Cannibal Corpse, and I should. So I ordered this thing, and they were able to make it happen for me in the time between me getting the gig and actually having to play a show. So it was
that's amazing. That's sick.
This guitar was built in.
It takes. I'll look at the camera. It takes a lot longer to build a Jackson custom shop guitar.
Normally
the Music Zoo waits years.
2 years.
Yeah.
For a custom shop guitar, but they were able to make this happen for me, which was like just a huge favor.
Yeah, also just like a testament to like their dedication to like artists and the people that play these things. It's like, nah, we'll make it happen for you, which is dope, super cool.
So for this, there's actually 4 tunings that Cannibal Corpse use in their sets.
Oh shit!
And there's E flat standard stuff on the earliest
traditional
stuff. And then they went to the 7-string version, so there's A sharp standard songs. And when they were making that switch, I guess they had an album where they had, you know, like 6-string and 7-string songs. And the 6-string songs, they felt like started to sound a little bit too like puny compared to the 7-string songs. So when they started using 7-strings, they moved those songs that were already written to C sharp standard.
Okay, gotcha.
So now there's like 6 strings in E flat, there's 6 strings in C sharp, and there's 7 strings in A sharp. And then they went down to the 7th string below the C sharp, and so they started using G. And the guys who've played guitar in the band over the years have, some of them have done it on 6 strings and some of them have done it on 7 strings. But on 6 strings, it's you're fighting the scale length to get the G note to sound.
What is a string gauge you're using when they're doing it on 6 strings?
70.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, and, or 74 I was using too. And even that, it wasn't tight enough that I wanted it to be, you know, on a 25.5 scale. And again, it's all about me, really. It's about me feeling comfortable with the instrument. Like, yeah, you could do it, you know, but I wanted to do it in a more optimal way, so I wanted a longer scale length for the guitar for that. And Eric, who plays guitar in Cannibal Corpse, he uses a 7-string for these things.
Gotcha.
Where Pat used a 6-string and Rob uses a 6-string, and when they do it on 6-string, they actually tune it like as if it's a 7-string.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they're
the
missing
thing
the high
between
E.
the G and the B string, like that doesn't happen. You can play power chords like the normal shape off the D string.
Yeah.
And that to me was a bit of a daunting thing. I was like, I don't really want to do that. I've never played a 7-string in my life, but I think I'd rather do this on a 7-string and have like a high string to still be able to solo on in G. And I tried it, like I did. I strung up my 6 strings and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I could do this, but I don't want to do this. So I'm going to order a 7-string like ASAP. And so I ordered this thing. And I really wanted it to just look pure evil, you know. So I've always been a fan of the King Kelly
cutouts are so sick.
Yeah, but this was the first case where I was truly like, that makes sense to have that now. You know, it's so mean looking. It's like, does it fit the style that I play in other bands or by myself when I'm, you know, just doing my solo guitar thing online? And it's like, it might be a bit too evil for that, but now I have like the perfect case to have this kind of guitar. So yeah, red and black. It's got a red binding around the body and the fretboard in the neck, and red inlays and red logo, and this beautiful flame maple top here.
Looks sick.
The pickup on this one is a Seymour Duncan alt metal blackout, which is sort of tuned for like the lowest notes. And I tried a few of them. I tried my passives and I tried a couple different active pickups, and this one I felt like was able to get the most like distortion and saturation in like a clean, tight way with the really low notes that I had to play.
That's awesome. That's really cool. That I can't believe you never played a 7-string before and you were just like, man, it's an incredible gig. You don't want to mess it up. But it's like, I'd rather add a string than get used to like a weird chord positioning for some power chords.
Yeah, I mean, well, like backstage when I'm warming up, I'm just kind of improvising, noodling around with, you know, arpeggios and just kind of trying to find new sounds and kind of work on ideas and writing and stuff like that. And I was just like, I don't want to be lost on my guitar when I'm just noodling around on it, because the string tuning is in fourths, you know, across the board. So I felt like, you know, on a 7-string I can still kind of, it made more sense to me to just have an extra low string
that's
than
cool.
to mess with everything.
I'm sure it sounded great.
You know,
what was your rig like on that tour? Do you still roll with amps or you do modelers?
I still roll with amps, and you know, I play the EVH amps, of course. For Cannibal Corpse, I used rectifiers.
Cool.
Because that's just their sound and their look and everything, and we wanted it symmetrical. And and I want to sound like Cannibal Corpse. I'm filling in for Cannibal Corpse, so they use rectifiers. I used
cool too.
rectifiers. And I brought like a pedal board and a MIDI switcher.
Nice.
And what I do is I use like a MIDI device that will just switch loops.
Okay.
So I've got a MIDI switcher downstate, like at you know, by my floor monitor that I'm switching, but back over at the amp is my real pedal board, and those analog pedals are turning on and off via my MIDI switchers.
What were you using for Corpse? Like some echo for solos or something like that?
Yeah, I was actually using Dave Davidson's. His like delay reverb.
Eidolon.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's a delay reverb and a boost in one, which is just really nice to have.
That's all you need for
and it all sounds great. Like it sounds fantastic. If it didn't sound fantastic, the convenience would still be nice. But if it sounds as good as it does, it was like that's the one I took. And I tried a bunch of other stuff. I tried several like reverbs and delays and things. It was a different gig than I've had, you know, it's kind of a different sound. So yeah, part of the reason I didn't want to do it on a 6-string in addition to the tuning and losing that solo string was just the scale length. I just didn't think it tonally sounded killer when I would string up my 6 strings. It was 10 to 70. And just those low notes just sounded like kind of, or sorry, it's 10 to 70 on 7, so it was 13, I think, to 70.
Okay.
And yeah, it just sounded sort of dead. Like it would sound like the strings were dead already.
Yeah, weird.
Like there wasn't like the bright clang to it. And so I wanted a longer scale, and I tried a 26.5 guitar just off the shelf, 26.5-inch scale length, and that was like such a big adjustment that I couldn't feel where the frets were. Like if I have to jump to the 7th fret, I had to like look while I was playing the whole time. And it was difficult for soloing, so I thought, you know, in between like a typical 25.5 6-string and 26.5 7-string that I was trying it out on, I decided to order 26, and that ended up being like perfect for me. Because it still feels like a normal guitar to me. It's not like a big enough thing that it's going to throw me off where the frets are. And it's still easy for bending strings and soloing. Like it's not crazy. It's just enough to make those low notes sound more lively,
right?
A little brighter and tighter, and you can
Yeah.
mute harder. You know, like Cannibal Corpse, you have to play very aggressively. You have to pick hard and you have to mute hard.
Yeah.
And the strings are going to go real sharp on a shorter scale. So the longer the scale, the more you can kind of just manhandle it. So
that's dope.
It was definitely killer to have this scale length guitar, and just have this guitar that was built specifically, literally for that tour.
The guitar was,
that one tour.
This guitar was built for Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, this guitar was built for me to fill in on one Cannibal Corpse tour, basically.
That's cool, but I mean, I'm sure you'll find other ways to use it. But man, it's so sick. And I guess the only thing that's left is to plug it in and let everyone online hear it if you're down.
Yeah, sure.
Play some riffs.
Yep.
Big shouts to the Jackson Custom Shop and all those guys. You're incredible builders. And if you have your own crazy ideas, the Music Zoo is happy to help facilitate that. So email us, call us up, themusiczoo.com, and we'll get your Jackson Custom Shop dreams going, just like this one. Later.